Men are necessary. The welfare state or something. Well, it's funny you should say that, because if you have not purchased this book yet, why haven't you? Please, The Rational Male, Reignite is available. It is on Amazon. It did hit one. I got it for 2 days as a #1 bestseller. Thank you very much. That's all it took. But there you go. In that book, I mentioned this. I break down sociosexual hierarchies in there, which, credit where it's due, I am not a plagiarist. I am not lifting his material. I am only standing on the shoulders of a fellow giant, Vox Day, who came up with sociosexual hierarchies. No, you didn't hear that from Homath. You didn't get that from Ryan Taraban. You didn't get that from Chris Williamson. You didn't get that from whoever. That is Vox Day, who's been a good friend of mine for quite some time. He kind of went really super moralistic Christian in recent days, but back when he was writing about game and he was writing about intersexual dynamics, he came up with what was called sociosexual hierarchies. That's how you get alpha, beta, delta, gamma, omega, and sigma. That doesn't exist. Okay. Ask me the question. Give me the super chat if you want to know why I would say that sigma doesn't exist. But the thing is those are sociosexual hierarchies. I define those in great detail in this book, which is available now on Amazon. Reignite. Go get it today. Okay. So there's a whole section that's dedicated to sociosexual hierarchies, because it's one of the topics I get asked about the most, because especially when we're talking about high value man, right? What's an alpha, Rollo? Well, a lot of people want to tell me that alpha is like, I was going to mention this in the high value man part of things, but people want to say, well, an alpha is necessarily a high value man. Well, that depends on what you are defining as high value. People don't want to use, it was Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels was the one who came up with the term high value man. Okay. And so that sounded better. That rolled off the tongue better. It tasted better than saying a guy was an alpha. Well, alpha is cringe. Beta is cringe. If you use those terms, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay. High value man. Yeah, yay! It's the same fucking thing. It's just a different different language, different vernacular. So that's why I was like, well, what's an alpha? And is there a difference between a high value man and an alpha? And I would say there probably is, because alpha is a mindset. It's not a demographic. High value man, definitely a demographic. Okay? So as I was saying before, when it comes to sociosexual hierarchies, Vox Day is very clear about what his definition of what an alpha is, what a beta is, and what a delta is. And of all of the 5 sociosexual hierarchies, the delta is the one you need to pay attention to the most, because that is what's going to make Western civilization crumble. It's not alphas. It's not betas, or sidekick betas anyway. It's not gamma males. It's not omega males. They're just the dregs of society, right? Gamma males are like the sexless guys who don't fuck and make lists as to why they don't fuck, right? They're always inside their head. They're always trying to work out like what the mathematics are and why. Well, if the world were fair, women would want to fuck me because I'm the perfect boyfriend. I've catered my life. That's a gamma male. Right? Gamma males are also called secret kings because they're the ones that actually go after. They hate and despise and resent the alpha male. But the one who's in the middle, not the sigma. By the way, a sigma is just an antisocial alpha. But the deltas are what you need to watch out for. Now, why do I say that? Well, the delta males are the guys who keep the lights on. They put in an honest day's work for an honest day's pay, right? They're the guys. They're the 40-hour-a-week guys. They do exactly what they need to do. And there, for a while, prior to the sexual revolution, maybe a little bit after it, delta males, to be a delta was a pretty safe bet, right? You might not be getting pussy like alpha males were. You weren't a player. But you go to church on Sunday, you pretty much could get a good wife and have kids, and you had a job at a steel factory. You had a job as an electrician, a construction guy. You maybe you were a carpenter, maybe you were an architect, right? I would say that's a little more advanced than a delta. You still be a delta and be an architect. These are the guys that keep the lights on. They work in raw sewage. They keep the internet running. They code. They make wonderful programs like the one I'm using here so I can talk shit about everybody. Like the guys who keep the lights on. The men, like when Brian from whatever podcast says, look around this room. Everything here was built by a man. No, Brian, they were built by delta males. built by guys who went in, did the job, left home, punched in, punched out. Those guys are the guys, you can call them blue collar. They're not all blue collar, but like, they're the guys who punch in and punch out at the end of the day. Those are the guys who take a shower at the end of the day instead of the beginning of the day, right? Those are the dudes that keep America together. Baling wire and duct tape. That's the Delta male, okay? The guys who keep the lights on. The guys who keep the roads, fill the potholes. The guys who design the roads and the first civil engineers, Delta male. Yeah. But those are the guys who are average. They're average men. Alphas and betas, according to sociosexual hierarchies, are exceptional. They're exceptional guys. Delta males are the average proles. They're the plebes. They're the guys who, when I go through the airport, you're going to see nothing but Delta males. They're the guys they're average. The problem we have today with Delta males is that average women don't want to get with average guys. A Delta male is not enough. A Delta male, a guy who actually he's got a job. He's got a job. He does it. He shows up, dependable, works hard, goes to church on Sundays, loves his kids, loves his family, loves his dog, loves his 2 cars, loves his Jeep and his GMC, I don't know, Tahoe, whatever, right? And will probably never make an impact in society, but God bless the guy because he does what he says and he says what he does. Women want nothing to do with that guy. He's not high value enough for them. Average women don't want to get with average men. And guess what Delta men are? They are average. And when you lose the Deltas, you lose fucking society. When guys go, I can't make again, this is another conversation I need to have with Aaron Clary. When you got a Delta male who cannot be assured of getting it doesn't even have to be a hot girl. It could just be a mid. You could just have like a 6. They'd be happy with the 6. They'd be happy with that. They'll have babies with you, live on a ranch or whatever the fuck it is. Like they are the heartbeat of America, right? Chevy. They're Chevy men. And I don't mean Camaros. I mean like freaking trucks, right? These are the guys I said keep the light on, but they're average. And average women, not only that, average women feel that they are entitled to above average men. And it used to be prior to the sexual revolution and prior to the regulated sexuality, that's where Delta males thrive, man. If you're a 5 or a 6, you can be assured that you're going to get a 5 or a 6 chick and you're going to have babies and you're going to, have money for Christmas presents and all that other shit and all that great shit that happened like in the, post-World War II, right up until the sexual revolution and right up until about 1971. When everything went to hell and nobody wanted, that was the beginning of the end. That's because like women lost respect for Delta males. That's why when I'm looking at like what Tucker Carlson talking shit about, like, oh, women need a man. The bedrock of the good marriage is respect. Get the fuck out of here. The bedrock of a good marriage is respect. Women don't respect men. Are you kidding? Because women's understanding of respect is not the same definition as men's definition of respect. Respect amongst men is merited. What makes you respectable? For women, it's not what makes you respectable. It's everybody deserves respect. Here's some respect for you and you and you and you. It's the participation trophy generation. That's what respect is for women. It's common, it's communal, it's communitarian, it's socialist. Everybody gets a little bit of respect. What did I do? Nothing. You just get it. No, fuck that. For men, respect is hierarchical. For women, it's in the round once again, right? So all this, but see, the problem is it didn't used to be that way. Prior to the sexual revolution, like it was, that's why when you took the risk of getting pregnant by having sex with a guy, you wanted to make sure that guy was a safe bet. I'm not saying that there weren't sluts back in the 30s or something, roaring 20s. I'm sure there was plenty of sluts, right? But they did it in spite of the fact that they didn't have hormonal birth control back then. And then we come up with like latex condoms, in the 50s, 40s or 50s, something like that. I wonder when condoms, I should ask Perplexity, when were condoms invented? Like, God, that's a good one. Let me ask that. Today is the Perplexity show.